Tripping! Nope. Tripping. Holding! No, you can't do that. Nope. That's interference. You looked at me wrong. Nope, get off. Unsportsmanlike. It ain't easy being a Coyotes fan. And it ain't easy being a Coyotes fan living in Alberta. To the north of me are the Edmonton Oilers, and to the south of me are the Calgary Flames. And here I am, smack dab in the middle. So join me for Season 1 of the Albertan Coyotes Fan, where I talk about the Arizona Coyotes, the 23-24 Arizona Coyotes. Let's see if we make the playoffs this year. Stay howling. Go Yotes! The Arizona Coyotes I don't know what to call it. I don't know whether it was a good opening game or whether it was an open... Obviously, there were improvements that could be made. But... gotta clear the throat from whatever game that was. Because in a game full of penalties, the Coyotes win in the shootout 4-3 over the New Jersey Devils to kick off the regular season for the Coyotes. And I just finished making a TikTok video, just like a small one, explaining all of this, just especially the fact that, I'm giddy right now. Because for the first game of the Arizona Coyotes, and we all know where the Coyotes were last year, the year previous, they weren't good. And to see them come out of the gates not looking great, but looking improved. And they win in unorthodox fashion. It's weird. It is so weird to me as a Coyotes fan. So to keep in mind that the New Jersey Devils, they were second place in the Metro last year going into the playoffs, and they were knocked out by the Carolina Hurricanes in round 2. And as we all know, the Coyotes did not make the playoffs. So keeping that in mind, the Devils start off in the opening minute on a rush. And they're going down the zone. And it's 2 versus Schmaltz. And Schmaltz, for whatever reason, I don't know what the Coyotes were working on, but it's working. Schmaltz puts his stick out in the middle of the lane, puck hits it, it's deflected off, and Schmaltz breaks up a play that would have probably turned into a goal. And then the Coyotes took it up the other way. And one thing that I made a note on with the Global Series is that the Coyotes had to find a way to hold the zone. And they did that this game. I didn't catch any of the preseason games between any of the other teams because Sportsnet only feels like covering the Global Series and that's it. But that was enough of a good preview to know, okay, that's where we were. Here's where we're going. And where we are at now is the Coyotes get into the zone. And they feel comfortable in the zone. They're circling the puck around. They're keeping the puck in the zone, which is an improvement in and of itself. And they're making it hard for the Devils to do anything with the puck, really. They are playing an excellent game of keep away. And I don't know if you've ever played keep away, like maybe in gym class, or if you've played floor hockey, you've probably played it with the people who know how to play hockey and they're just all over the floor. That was the Coyotes in this game. The Devils were your we've never played hockey in our lives, but they've played hockey in their lives, but we never played hockey in our lives. We're trying to steal the puck from the guys who are on like AA Bantam or whatever random letters you want to throw in front of the leagues. As you can tell, I've never played hockey before. The Devils seemed very slow getting out of the out of their comfort zone in this game. Usually it's the Coyotes who are doing that. They're slow on the uptake, they're slow to get moving. But in this game, it was as if the roles were reversed. So the Coyotes are coming out and running the show. They're tossing the puck around. They're throwing pucks at the net. In the first 2 minutes, I think there were 2 shots for the Coyotes, 0 shots for the Devils. And if you remember from last season, the Coyotes are notorious, and I mean notorious, for letting the other team run them up in the shot department. And subsequently making Vejmelka have to make a whole bunch of saves. And, you know, if you want to do that, like, when it's a desperation situation where it has to be the goaltender, sure, that makes sense. But you do that too often, someone is going to find a mistake that they can capitalize on, and boom, it's in the back of the net, and the other team scores. In this case, in this game, they changed that. And there was one goal that was scored in the first period. That was by Matt Dumba. Keller drops the puck back for him. Dumba squares up to the net. He takes the shot, and it goes in. And man, did it go in. He's up by the right side. He's on the crosshairs of the face-off circle. He takes the shot. It goes right into the net. And that's 1-0 for the Coyotes. And I'll be honest with you, as a Coyotes fan, as someone who knows the history of this team, I did not cheer. I should have cheered. I know a lot of people might give me flack for not cheering. I didn't cheer because I didn't know what was going to happen. We score, maybe they come back 2-1, I guess, in this case. You just don't know. And with the Coyotes kind of flip-flopping on their play, which we'll get into, by the way, I wasn't ready to give it my all. And as a hockey fan, that's something I got to work on. So that's what we're here for, I guess. So I mentioned earlier how many penalties happened. Maybe it was on the TikTok video, but I think I covered it here too. It's only been 10 minutes. I don't know where my memory's going. Oh, I don't know. I just watched a hockey game where I don't know what happened, and I've got to make a video about it now. Coyotes are the first to go on the power play. And one thing that they were struggling with, especially in the earlier parts of it, was getting into the zone. That was their most difficult process. To their credit, the Devils were able to keep a heavy door shut on the blue line. But you look at players like McDavid, like Austin Matthews, like Leon Draisaitl, Nathan McKinnon. They can find the openings that the other teams give them. And you've got 3 players, maybe 4 players lined up on the line. You've got room. Like, yeah, they got sticks everywhere, but you pass under the stick or do some weird pokey stuff. I don't know. I'd play hockey totally. Yep. And you take it in and you make a scoring attempt. The Coyotes looked to be too nervous to try to do any of that. It was a lot of dump and run, or it was a lot of getting poked back out of the zone and having to regroup, which the dump and run I'm not really a fan of. I understand why it's in the game, but I don't like it because then you're kind of just giving a gimme. But regrouping, that's always the go-to that I would prefer, because at least you run a few of those seconds off the clock. However, you're also running the power play off the clock, so it's lose-lose or lose-win, however you want to look at it. So now we enter the second period. And oh boy, I'm going to have fun with this one. So right off the bat, the Coyotes end up on a power play. It is their second power play of the game, and they managed to capitalize on it. Sean Durzi, he's up at the point. I don't even know if it's called the point. I know he's up at the blue line. I don't know what the point is. I do know what the point is, and he was at the point. And Logan Cooley, scoring his first point in the National Hockey League, passes it to Clayton Keller, who gives it up to Sean Dursey at the point, who shoots it uninterrupted, and it hits the back of the net. And that is 2-0 for the Arizona Coyotes. And guess what? Your very excited and very upgoing Albertan Coyotes fan didn't cheer. It's game 1. I know the Coyotes. I know what the Coyotes have done in the past. I'm not going to cheer yet. They still have a bit to prove. And the second period really just lowered everything. All the expectations were gone. I wear glasses. And I haven't worn them in a video yet because they're newer glasses. The old glasses they're junk. But I got these new glasses. I'm not wearing them because I took them off in the second period when everything started getting chaotic, because I didn't want to have the focus of whatever was going on in the game. And to get into that, we start our penalty marathon. And I mean marathon, with a 4-on-4 opportunity on either side, because one guy on the Devils decides to try and go after Logan Cooley, and there's a whole bit of interference, and Cooley, being new to the league, doesn't quite know how to sell penalties, and he's hauled off for embellishment. And when I looked at the replay that they showed, he probably, he sold it. But if he just went with gravity, like what he should have done, he would have just gotten the penalty. There would not have been an opportunity for 4-on-4. I write notes on my laptop when I'm watching the game so that I can come and make the video and know what I'm talking about, because I can follow along with what I wrote. And half the time it doesn't work because either I'm very loose with my wording or what have you. I start writing the 4-on-4, and I'm going to read this as quoted, as I worded it. I went 4-on-4, New Jersey Devils, interference, Arizona Coyotes, embellishment. As I was making this note, the Devils got a 2-on-1 and crossed the ice, with the puck, by the way, to score a one-timer on an ill-prepared Vejmelka, goal scored by Bratt. I was still writing. The puck drops on the start of this 4-on-4, goes to the Devils. Devils take it up towards Vejmelka, passes it across, and scores. I look up as the puck goes in the net. Shows how fast I am at typing. Now, keeping in mind that when teams, plural, it takes 2 to tango, go 4-on-4 for a penalty like that, the 4-on-4 does not end. So the Devils go down another man to make it 4-on-3 for the Coyotes. And this is where the chaos really starts to begin. And I'm going to relay this off. I'm going to be reading off the screen. I will not do this all the time. I swear. I promise. It is game 1 and episode official 1 of whatever this is going to be. But I'm going to read off of my laptop as to what ended up happening. So I'm going to be looking over here, but I'm going to be talking over here. So just, bear with me. So we have that 4-on-3. Devils get yet another penalty for delay of game. And they were looking to see whether or not there was a bit of deflection. And there wasn't. It was close, but there wasn't. So a Devils player gets hauled off for delay of game. And we keep going. Then the Coyotes get a penalty. And as I wrote, and I'm so confused, there's a high-sticking penalty. Coyotes gets hauled off to the box. Followed up with Coyotes penalty, tripping. That's 2 penalties for the Coyotes right there. Then, during that power play for the Devils, because at this point it was 4-3 for the other side, Hamilton ties the game at 2. And because of all the penalties, because the refs didn't know how to stop blowing on the whistle. Like, I know the term is swallowing your whistle, but, if you swallow a whistle, it just means that more air is going through the whistle and it's just blowing. So I never understood that term. So I'm going to keep going with choking on the whistle is they blew it way too often. And I'll continue on everyone else's trend of swallowing the whistle means there were no whistles during the game, I suppose. But the choking on the whistle continues. There we go. After the fact. The Coyotes again take a penalty for slashing, which the broadcast called it a good penalty. There is never a good penalty. And I know it was on a breakaway. I know it was the Devils getting ready to score. Vejmelka had it. You didn't have to slash him. You didn't have to go and hook him. It was slashing, but it could have been hooking, is why I say that. Vejmelka was ready. But the Coyotes go another man down. And here we go looking at the laptop again, because guess what? Another penalty happens. Coyotes, again, tripping. And this is followed up with the 3-2 goal for the New Jersey Devils, because they went up on us. Brett scores, and I wrote, toss the white towel. Because I was ready. I was waiting for this to happen. The other shoe, woo, drops. And I was, that point right there is where I took off my glasses, because I didn't want to focus on the game anymore. But I have videos I have to make. I have people I need to appease. Not necessarily on YouTube yet, but we're going to get there. TikTok mostly, because TikTok is great. I've got to get a screenshot of that face that I made. I'm going to love that. Show that at my wedding. If I ever invite a fan, you're showing that at my wedding. We move on. And I'm still looking at the laptop because it gets crazy. And by crazy, I mean the last note I made for the second period. And I got specifically, again, I'm going to quote. Second period notes. What notes? What's even happening? Third period. Meyer gets called off for a penalty. So guess what train is still running? Refs are choking. And the Coyotes go on the power play. I need to keep looking at this because it was penalty. Sean Durzi ends up taking a clearing attempt off the ear. So now we're adding all these penalties and adding injury. So quite literally, other way around, I guess, we're adding injury to insult. And even earlier in this game, we're looking at I was looking at a bit of a replay. One of the Devils players went down. He got a busted, bottom jaw, because he took a puck to the face. So we have that trend running a little bit. There were two people that ended up getting hit with the puck. Jack McBain ended up off the ice in this period. We don't know why. I might make an update about that. I don't know. If I do, it'll be on TikTok, which is under the same name as I have here. And a little bit into this period, Bratt starts going down the ice on a breakaway. And I'm holding my breath. And he gets ready to shoot. And I'm holding my breath harder. I don't know if you can do that, but I did it. He takes the shot. And Vejmelka, with the pad of God, stops the shot. And we stay with that 3-2 deficit, which is good. Because even the broadcast was saying they're looking to pad the score. They're looking to run the clock down and have a bit of an insurance marker. So for them to miss that goal, which was a golden opportunity, came kind of at a detriment. So I breathed a bit of a sigh of relief, but again, great Coyotes fan here. I did not cheer. And another penalty happens, this time to the Devils. Smith goes down for tripping. And the Coyotes use this opportunity and they tie the game. The assist comes from Cooley. Nick Schmaltz finds an opening that's like, I wouldn't even call it that big. Puck had to have been going parallel. Like, you got that, you got that. It must have been going like that. because it finds the back of the net, and I'm sitting there for like 2 seconds looking at the play. It stopped. I see Coyotes' hands are up in the air, and I'm thinking, oh, did it go in the netting? And then I look at the ref's hand that's going like that, and this time, I cheered. And I cheered way too loud because there's a couple dogs outside. Like there's a husky across the alley from me. They were going absolutely wild. Not the Minnesota Wild. This is not that channel. So the clock winds down, and we have to go into overtime. Before we get into overtime, I want to talk about something Josh Brown did, because he's behind the Coyotes net with Andre Palat, and something was going on between the two. The cameras weren't covering that play, that situation on that side of the ice. It was all being focused on where the puck was, like you know how a broadcast should work. But I was looking around the arena on like, you know, beyond the glass of the game, and everyone was up in arms. They were shouting. There was a chant that happened of "Ref, you suck," and I kind of made note of that. Not in here. I just made a mental note because I probably can't say it on YouTube. Josh Brown is with Andre Palat behind this net, and Palat did something to tick off Josh Brown, and Josh Brown starts shoving him into the back of the net as a bully would to a kid in the sandbox at a playground. And when I look at that, I look at things like what Brad Marchand would do. And while a lot of people would feel resentment or anger towards like, oh, you shouldn't be doing that, or even Coyotes fans would look at that like, okay, that's unprofessional. You're trying to find your spot in the lineup. And the Coyotes, it's a toss-up for everyone save for Keller, Schmaltz, and the goalies. It is a toss-up because they're trying to find their groove, and the groove is coming with what they're seeing of their current players. And then there are some in Tucson who are looking to be brought up, like Dylan Genther. He was sent down to the minors. If Josh Brown messes up, he could be seen getting sent down, and maybe we see Josh Doan get brought up. We see Dylan Genther come back. But you need to find your niche. And what the Coyotes need, whether it is disrespectful to the game or not, is someone who will tell another team, and I mean collective team, do not mess with us. Brad Marchand is that for the Boston Bruins, but he's definitely had some help. We had that with Zach Kassian, and now it looks like we might get that with Josh Brown. But that ends up unresolved. Nothing comes of it, so Devils fans are up in arms. They're probably very mad about this game, but I don't care. And we go into overtime, where this is about the point where I think the Devils kind of fell apart a bit, because there were a lot of turnovers that happened by the Devils. There were a lot of different plays that were interesting, to say the least. There was a penalty near the end there that the Devils took. There were just a bunch of things that said that the Devils were either growing really tired, which is more likely, or their nerves were getting to them. They were being beaten by what is renowned by the league at this point. The worst team, a team that is undeserving, a team that's playing in a barn that no NHL team would ever play in. Just the black sheep of the NHL. The outcast. And guess what? The underdog. So Devils end up, blowing the overtime opportunities that they had. The Coyotes end up really utilizing it to run out the clock, and I wonder if maybe part of that was due to the coaching suggestions, because when we get into the shootout, Bjugstad takes the first shot for the Coyotes. Vejmelka already stopped the first shot from the Devils. Bjugstad goes up with for the Coyotes. He scores. Vejmelka has no problem with the second Devils player. And Nick Schmaltz ends up sealing the game for the Coyotes. And the reason why I think the overtime was bled out the way it was by the coaching staff is I think they knew that Bjugstad and Schmaltz were going to be able to level out the shootout in the way that they wanted to. And guess what? They were right. So the Coyotes come away with 2 points. The Devils come away with 1 point. So at least they get a point. That's great. And that's the way the cookie crumbles, if we want to be cliche. What a game one. And we've got 81 more to go. And maybe, we might get to see some playoff action. So stick around for that as I continue to cover the Arizona Coyotes when they win, when they inevitably lose, when they lose in overtime, because, you know, we all want that extra point. And stay howling, and go Yotes. I'll see you on the next one.